The next definition is center rail, and a rail is a horizontal member of a door versus stiles, which are vertical. So rails are horizontal, stiles are vertical. A rail in the center of the door is also going to be known as a lock rail. It's going to be in the vicinity of where your lock is prepped, where your exit device is mounted, a push bar, things of that nature. When you've got a rail that's not the top rail or the bottom rail, it's possibly going to be a center rail, whether it be a single, let's say a 2-light or a light over a louver, and you've got one lock rail. A center rail is going to distinguish itself and differentiate itself from the top and bottom rail because it will separate lights or louvers, whatever the elevation of the door might be. To say a lock rail tells me that it's probably a 2-light or a light over a louver door where there's just one horizontal continuous piece of the door itself. That would be a lock rail to me, but a center rail is when you have multiple light preps or multiple cutouts in the door or preparations in the door, or the door is built, let's say it's stile and rail, where there is more than one rail. That's not the top or the bottom rail. Let's switch to the screen view and look at the SDI glossary. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so here's the glossary. Center rail, C rail. So let's get down to the alphabetical section where rail is going to, here we go. So rail, the horizontal member forming the top or bottom edge of a door. A top rail and a bottom rail. Or separating panels or glazed areas. Yeah, you could have a light over panel. You could have a light over louver. You could have louver over louver. You could have light, 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 light. Referred to as top rail, intermediate rail, or bottom rail. So we've got yet another term, intermediate rail. I don't think of it as that. I would call this a lock rail, just the parlance I would use. SDI is calling it a center rail. I think center rail is really good in the sense that you're not going to, if this was a 5-light door or a 5-panel door, you're not going to have 5 lock rails. Okay, so center rail would be probably the most appropriate term given the possibilities of what rails are. So the rail that's in the center is not the one that you'll find at the bottom of the door, or the one at the top of the door. But what I'm also driving at is, it would not be unusual to have a door that looks like this, and you've got, it could be anything. You've got 4-panel. Well, top rail, bottom rail, center rail, and you get the concept there. That's what they're going for. So understanding the anatomy of the door is crucial, and the term rail is very important, and being very specific about which rail you are referring to is also really important. So a center rail is going to be really important to know whether or not you have the sort of height to get an exit device mounted onto, or the sort of height that's going to allow you, in combination with the stile width, if you've got enough room to get a mortise lock installed into the edge of the door. So knowing not only what it's called, but knowing its properties would be really important when you start to define the center rail as it pertains to hardware, and the applicability, the compatibility of hardware onto a center rail as it encroaches into the space that is center rail. So there you go. Let's move on to the next definition, and I think that's going to be classified. Yeah. That'll be a point of discovery for both of us. Let's move on to classified. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.